For many types of organizations, there is no business model for helping those in need find housing, whether it's because they're homeless or because they have disabilities. As you can imagine, that's a bigger problem, of course. And this is a story about that. This is a story about someone who's, applying their skills in technology and decision making to solve a problem that we know we have in this community. Certainly it exists in every community, but someone needs to solve it. And whether it's going to make anyone rich or not is another story entirely. This is one of those stories, too, where real focus on people. And it really comes out of dedication to an operating system, in this case, self-implemented EOS. Enjoy my conversation today with Nick Stroup from North Coast Community Homes. Well, welcome to Weekly Impact, a Lay of the Land podcast. And we are doing the Smart 50 2025 edition and talking to the honorees of the Smart 50, of which you're one, and capturing their stories. So tell me a little bit about what got you to here. So how do we get to this place right now?
My career started in technology. I've worked in the nonprofit housing space for the last 15 years. It took my major steps in my career at an organization called Eden, who provides housing for individuals coming from chronic homeless situations and living with mental health difficulties. So really focused on technology and data. And along the way, realized that there was tremendous opportunity in aligning the technology, data, and the business processes of the organization. That was the biggest inflection point and the opportunity for the organization. And so as we continued to streamline those within that organization, there was an opportunity that came about with North Coast Community Homes, which is my current organization. I'm Chief Operating Officer, and in my time there, we've really sort of taken the organization to the next level. And that's a testament not just to my efforts, but our entire team. Our CEO, Chris West, is an absolute visionary who understands how to build a high functioning team. And our mission is to provide housing for individuals with developmental disabilities. And so we're doing that very, very well.
That, it's an incredible thing, because I think it's one of my favorite pet peeves that housing is the least developed part of the economy. We're millions of homes behind schedule, and we have all kinds of forces to blame for that. So I would imagine this would be a very specific part of that is equally as challenging. I guess that's why you're on the Smart 50 list. Tell me a little bit about what makes it different and leads to success. Is it just the team, or what are the kinds of problems that we've solved in this?
Yeah. So as an organization that's focused on providing housing for individuals with developmental disabilities, housing is a piece of a broader puzzle in supporting individuals with disabilities. So what you said about shortage in housing probably doubly applies when you have individuals with special needs. And so from our perspective, we're trying to make our housing as safe and comfortable as possible for our residents, and a place where they can live forever and they can build a community. And so there's a lot there. And if we're not doing the work that we can do in the most optimum and efficient way possible, then we really don't have much of a hope of influencing the broader system, which has its own share of opportunities as well. And so the way that we do that is we focus on two key things. We're focused on the residents, we're focused on our staff. And so the way that manifests in reality is we have about 200 properties that we can make sure that we're providing services for in a very streamlined condition. 3 years ago, we were running from emergency to emergency, and we never stopped.
We like to call that ad hocery.
Exactly. And but although there was strategy behind it, there was never really time to get to the strategy. And so by implementing EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, credited from the book Traction, we were really able to sift out the shiny stuff and focus on our core mission and understand the steps that we needed to do to basically, now we've seen a 49% reduction in high priority work orders as a result,
fantastic.
Year over year.
That's brilliant. That's what we do. We help implement operating systems. So one of which is EOS. Do you have an implementer that we can give credit to?
Well, actually, all the credit goes to my co-implementer, Erin Mogg, who's our directress of finance.
Okay.
So she and I work together to self-implement.
Oh, wow.
We
Okay.
had we did do a 1 day workshop with a facilitator who sort
Okay.
of gave us some
Some pointers.
pointers.
Yep.
But we took it from there, and I can't say enough about Erin. She is the heart of our EOS. She keeps us on track, and
That's great.
always make sure we're sticking with the program.
That's brilliant. Well, we'll like to say that until you have an intentional operating system, you have an accidental operating system.
Yes.
Well, great. So tell me, well, that sounds brilliant. What have you kind of picked up along the way for leadership tips? I mean, some of them are part of the Gina Wickman's bailiwick, but also there's probably some other things you've come upon that really work for you.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's all the core pieces. I mean, the data component, the process component, all that is very, very important. But ultimately, and not to rank one above the other, but the people component
Yeah.
is, to me, the one that is that extends beyond, because
Yeah.
all my career I've been a doer. I've always wanted to, been very fortunate to work in the nonprofit space and always be working in an area that does provide impact in the community. But as I got older, I realized that I am only one person, and my impact is limited by the hours in the day. And so
Yes.
if I want to have a greater impact, really need to focus on building a team of people that are able to execute beyond what I'm able to do myself. And so we've been able to do that at North Coast. We have a fantastic team, and it's very, very satisfying.
In your implementation, have you used the Delegate and Elevate tool?
Oh, yes.
Oh, very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, which is hard. That could be really hard for new managers, especially.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, the we have some new team members who it's counterintuitive at first. You have to delegate and elevate, and yeah, that's a core piece of our conversation.
I think it's right. I mean, a lot of people that struggle with the notion of getting to an operating system are pushing back on the idea that because they feel like they're supposed to know this stuff. And what I tell them is that all of these leadership skills are cultivated. We don't wake up every given day and know what to do and how to support people in this way. We have to be leaders, building leaders, building leaders. That there's a path for that, but it's not automatic. And there's things to go learn and things you have to stop doing to do that well. Well, that's great. So tell me a bit about, I mean, along the way, are there mistakes that happened or things that, hard times that had carried certain weight of learning for you? Like our good friend Jeffrey Stern likes to call them earned wisdom.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day there's mistakes, and I think that question sort of makes me think back to building a culture where failing is sort of part of the process. It's a step, giving the confidence to our people to know that you don't have to know all the answers. You won't know all the answers. In fact, I say it all the time when we bring new people aboard. I say, the second best answer is I know how to do that. The first best answer is I don't know, but I want to learn. And that's really been a key piece of our success, is bringing people aboard that want to do
One
that.
of the most powerful things in that realm that I came upon was my daughter went to Laurel School, and they have bumper stickers that say the word yet, because that's what they all respond to. And when they say something like, "Oh, I don't know how to do that," everyone goes, "Yet."
Right.
Yet. That's the opportunity. That's the flow opportunity for us all. Well, excellent. So, well, tell me, you've been doing this for a while. Have you had mentors along the way that had an impact on your thinking here?
Absolutely. Yeah. The central point is that we don't do it alone. We can't do it alone. And, I have to acknowledge a couple people. One is Chris West, our current CEO of North Coast Community Homes, one of the most compassionate and empathetic, mission-driven, and just savvy with building a team, people that you'll ever meet. I worked with him in a prior role, and everybody I talk to says, you're so lucky that you get to keep working with Chris. And I completely agree with that. Elaine Gimmel, who's the CEO for Eden, a person who is so driven, really epitomizes that whatever it takes attitude, and just really, really accomplished in her own right. And then if I have time for one more,
Sure, of course,
I'll say
yeah.
the original executive director of Eden, Kathy Kazel, who built the organization in the 80s in collaboration with other entities. Somebody who, Kathy's approach to her work epitomized the function over fashion, results over everything. And that was very inspirational to me.
Brene Brown says about great leaders, they don't want to get it right versus to be right.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
I like that quite a bit. So I guess the one thing I worry about for you when I was preparing for today was that um, there's a definitely a little bit of a sea change in how we think about funding the things you do. I mean, it's just not an open market, market driven set of assets, but certainly it's an important part of having a rich community. How do you guys think about that?
Yeah. I mean, in a couple of ways. One is I think it's something that's a little bit outside of reach for most people because it's a little bit intangible. But everyone, I believe, everyone knows somebody that is either has a disability now or will have a disability in the future. And so for me, what that means is by creating conversations, by breaking down walls and challenging conventional wisdom, we can create a communication channel that actually helps everyone to realize that you have a home in your neighborhood where there's 3 people with developmental disabilities that are living. And you can look at that and say, my God, I don't know what that is. That's scary. Or you can look at that and say, that's wonderful. I have some new
It's a
neighbors
great resource. Yeah.
and that's a way to enrich our neighborhood, which is exactly how we view it.
Do you face some NIMBY pushback as you develop new properties?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, the original founders of North Coast fought this battle 40 years ago. And they spent a lot of time.
I said NIMBY. I didn't expect so it was not in my backyard.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, they fought a lot of these fights 40, 30 years ago. And unfortunately, I think for a confluence of reasons, we're seeing a bit of that today. Unfortunately, more than a bit. And so a lot of my time recently is spent taking those head on, which it does distract us from the core mission, but ultimately advocacy is part of our core mission.
Yeah, it seemed like there's a time of renewal to figure that stuff out. The way I think about it, just the way with my business clients, there's things that are going to come up that you can predict, and so you don't want those to be emergencies. You don't want to have ad hocery. You want to have a plan for if this, then this. And certainly people with disabilities isn't going away and it isn't rare. It's just one of those things we should have a good answer for, right?
Yes, for sure.
I was talking to someone earlier who is very proud to be able to have a 3rd-generation business, and now she has leave for maternity leave. Like a real program for it. She was in here with her 1-month-old, but she's like, but still, she had options, and she said, I'm just glad I was able to do that because my grandmother who started the business didn't have those options in front of her.
That's great. I mean, that to me, that's huge. That's impact.
Right.
To be able to build something like that. I mentioned earlier we have two areas of focus: our residents and our staff.
Right.
And what is the value in getting into a position of influence and leadership if you cannot impact change for the positive? And what you just said,
I appreciate that.
Completely resonates.
Well, it's been a consistent theme too amongst everyone I've talked to, where it's the biggest thing is the soft skills that would have, I guess in your industry, it wouldn't necessarily be considered, it's an industry, unusual to have an appreciation for the people part, but it's the people part of the skill, both residents and also your humans that are working with your team members. Have you had any difficulty finding team members or,
working for a nonprofit organization, there's sort of a tacit understanding that you're trading away 20% of your income potential for the satisfaction of doing something positive for the community in which you live. Playing with rough numbers.
Right.
That being said, I think tapping into people's hunger to do something that matters and to do something that allows them to go home at the end of the day and feel like the work that they do matters is really, really important. I always say, like, engagement with your work is the single biggest factor, because having those sort of intrinsic motivations amongst both leadership and staff, it's going to go a lot further than extrinsic motivation.
In EOS language, having a strong core focus is the thing. We kind of go beyond EOS, and there's a Simon Sinek term called just cause. Because for a just cause, you will make sacrifices.
Yes.
So we adopt that quite a bit, where is this, we ask the question, is this a just cause? I think it's certainly what you're doing sounds like a just cause to me. Any lessons you would give to young Nick coming along 5, 10 years ago?
Boy, good question. Yes, for sure. I mean, the thing that comes immediately to mind is understanding again that you can't do it all yourself. You have
Right.
to. I probably would have gotten to the point where I was building the people part quicker. But I've been very fortunate in my career. I mean, to work with the people I've worked with, and to work where I work and in the industry with which I work, it's sort of Bob Ross, happy little accident type situations.
We'll take it,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. Hey, luck is a major factor. Skill, preparation, and luck.
Jim Collins teaches return on luck is the key.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you can have good luck, you can have bad luck, but what are you prepared to do something about it one way or the other? Having a strong culture, having made the decisions you've made about having an operating system, really makes it easier to take advantage of all those opportunities for good luck and to buffer you against the bad luck.
Yep. You can't control when good luck or bad luck occurs. All you can impact is if you're ready for it.
If you're ready for it, 100% right. You mentioned mentors. Anything else we should have the community know about you? Is there any way that if people wanted to help out, how they could help out?
Yeah, absolutely. Go to ncch.org. There's a lot of information there. There's volunteer opportunities. There's and all kinds of ways to get involved. As I mentioned earlier, everyone knows somebody that is currently disabled or will be disabled at some point in their life. So it's not a situation where that's out of touch for people. Although at times I think in 2025 our lives are going so quickly in terms of our day that it's easy to forget. And so being able to reflect upon that and get involved, I think, is really, really important.
I often say to my clients, you can only choose amongst the choices you have. So I'm glad you're there, and hopefully people will learn about you as a choice for how they solve that problem in their world.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Jim.
Bye now.